The crimson sand stretched endlessly in all directions, painted blood red by the dying light of twin suns. Marcus Chen stumbled forward, his weathered boots leaving deep impressions in the alien dunes. 3 days had passed since his survey craft crashed. 3 days of rationing water and hoping his emergency beacon would reach someone, anyone, in this godforsaken corner of Kepler 442b. His throat burned with each labored breath. The twin suns of this system were merciless, and even, through his environmental suit's cooling systems, he could feel the heat pressing against him like a living thing. The suit's HUD flickered occasionally, a reminder that its power cells were failing just like everything else. Marcus crested another dune, expecting to see more of the same monotonous landscape, but instead found himself staring at something impossible. Half buried in the red sand like some ancient fossil emerging from stone, lay the curved hull of a massive spacecraft. It was easily 3 times the size of his lost survey vessel, its surface a dull metallic gray that seemed to absorb the desert's crimson light. He slid down the dune's face, sending cascades of sand ahead of him. Up close, the ship's alien nature became unmistakable. The hull bore no rivets, no seams, no indication of how it had been constructed. Strange symbols were etched along its visible surfaces, not carved but somehow grown into the metal itself, forming patterns that hurt to look at directly. "What the hell are you?" Marcus whispered, his voice crackling through the suit's comm system. The ship had been here for centuries, perhaps millennia. Sand had accumulated around its base in natural drifts, and the visible portions showed signs of weathering from countless sandstorms. Yet something about it seemed wrong. Not dead, but sleeping. Marcus circled the exposed portion until he found what appeared to be an airlock. The circular hatch was massive, designed for beings much larger than humans. More of those painful symbols spiraled around its circumference, pulsing faintly with an inner light that his rational mind insisted was just a trick of the twin suns' glare. His suit's scanner beeped weakly. Atmosphere beyond the hatch showed as breathable, impossible for a craft that should have been dead for eons. Marcus pressed his gloved hand against the strange symbols, and to his amazement they flared brighter. The massive hatch began to iris open with a sound like grinding stone. The interior was vast and dark, but his suit's lights revealed corridors that stretched far beyond their reach. The walls were smooth and organic-looking, as if the ship had been grown rather than built. Emergency lighting flickered to life as he stepped inside, triggered by some alien sensor. Marcus moved deeper into the vessel, his footsteps echoing in the cavernous spaces. Everything was designed for beings at least 9 feet tall, with proportionally broader frames. But it was the silence that unsettled him most, not the silence of death but of something holding its breath. He found the control center eventually, a spherical chamber at the ship's heart. Crystalline formations jutted from the walls like frozen lightning, and at the center stood a raised platform with what could only be a captain's chair. The moment Marcus approached it, the crystals began to hum. Light flowed through the formations, and suddenly the chamber was alive with activity. Holographic displays materialized, showing star charts, technical readouts, and something that made Marcus's blood freeze: the unmistakable outline of Earth's solar system. A deep voice echoed through the chamber, speaking in harmonics that his translator struggled to process. "The small ones, they have found us at last." Marcus spun around to find a towering figure emerging from an alcove he hadn't noticed before. It stood nearly 10 feet tall, with 4 arms and skin that seemed to shift between colors like oil on water. Its face was angular, with too many joints, and eyes that held the weight of millennia. "You are of the 3rd planet," it said, the words now clear as his translator adapted. "The species that sent signals into the void, seeking others among the stars." "Who are you?" Marcus managed, his voice barely a whisper. "I am Kethvar, last navigator of the Zephyrian Concordat. We crashed here during your species' early development, what you call the Pleistocene epoch. My crew entered stasis to await rescue that never came." The alien's 4 eyes studied Marcus with something that might have been curiosity. "Tell me, small one, have your people learned to cross the void between worlds?" Marcus straightened, finding courage in the pride of his species. We have. We've colonized dozens of systems, established trade routes across the galaxy. Humanity doesn't just survive among the stars. We thrive. Kethvar's expression shifted to something resembling surprise. The young ones who had barely discovered fire, you have truly claimed the galaxy as your own? We don't claim it, Marcus said firmly. We share it. We've formed alliances with 17 different species, established peaceful contact with dozens more. Where others see empty space and hostile worlds, humans see opportunity and new homes. The alien was silent for a long moment, processing this information. Finally, he spoke. My people were ancient when your son was young. We built an empire that spanned 1,000 worlds, conquered species that now exist only in our archives. Yet here I stand, the last of my kind, speaking to a member of a species that has accomplished in millennia what took us epochs to achieve. Kethvar moved to the central platform, his four hands dancing across controls that responded to his touch. You did not conquer the galaxy. You invited it to join you. Perhaps that is why you succeeded where we ultimately failed. The ship's systems hummed to life around them. Lights brightened, and Marcus could feel the vessel's engines beginning to stir for the first time in ages. My ship is functional once more, Kethvar announced. I could leave this world, seek out the scattered remnants of my people across distant stars. But I think instead I will accept your invitation to join this new galactic community you have built. Marcus smiled, feeling the weight of first contact settling on his shoulders. The Terran Colonial Authority will want to meet you properly. There are protocols, cultural exchange programs, technologies we could share. Yes, Kethvar interrupted, a sound that might have been laughter rumbling from his throat. I look forward to seeing what wonders your species has wrought among the stars. Lead on, small one. The last navigator of the Zephyrian Concordat is ready to learn from the children who inherited the galaxy. As they prepared to depart the red desert world together, Marcus couldn't help but reflect on humanity's greatest strength, not their technology or their weapons, but their ability to turn enemies into friends and strangers into family. In a galaxy full of wonders, perhaps that was the most wonderful thing of all.